Explore the principles and techniques of probability and non-probability sampling, focusing on sample size and contextual considerations. Sampling involves selecting a subset of individuals from a larger population, influenced by factors like validity, reliability, and cost. It includes two main types: probability and non-probability sampling. In probability sampling, every member of the population has a known chance of selection, allowing for statistical generalization and estimation of sampling error. Key techniques in probability sampling include simple, random, systematic, stratified, and cluster sampling. This slide illustrates a systematic sampling calculation example, showing how to select every third unit from a list of 20. Simple random sampling gives each unit an equal chance of selection, though practical constraints like incomplete lists can pose challenges. Systematic sampling involves selecting units at regular intervals, efficient for near-complete lists, but may introduce bias if periodicity exists. Stratified sampling divides the population into strata and samples within them, improving precision for important subgroups. This table shows the population composition by sex and age, crucial for stratified sampling. The proportion between sample and population size is crucial for accurate representation, as shown in this example calculation. This slide explains how to round sample sizes and use simple or systematic sampling to draw different samples. Cluster sampling involves dividing the population into clusters and randomly selecting them, reducing costs but requiring adjustments for intra-cluster correlation. Probability sampling is central to representative designs, adapting to local realities, and commonly used in large surveys in Southern Africa. Non-probability sampling is based on researcher criteria common in qualitative research, prioritizing depth over generalizability. Key techniques in non-probability sampling include convenience, purposive, snowball, and quota sampling. Convenient sampling selects readily available participants, offering quick results but with potential bias and limited generalizability. Purposive sampling targets participants with specific characteristics useful for gaining specialist knowledge in certain contexts. Snowball sampling involves participants referring others, useful for accessing hidden populations. Quota sampling ensures specified numbers from subgroups, used when probability sampling is infeasible. Non-probability sampling provides deep contextual insights, often used in NGO evaluations and participatory appraisals. Understanding sample size is crucial as it impacts statistical power, precision, and the credibility of qualitative findings. The choice of sample size depends on the research design, objectives, data type, and practical constraints. Quantitative sample size is determined by factors such as research design, population size, desired confidence level, effect size, and more. Adjustments for non-response and cluster sampling are also considered. Cochrane's formula is a method for calculating initial random sample size, adjusted for finite populations. It involves steps using confidence intervals and margins of error. SPSS software can be used for power analysis and sample size estimation. It involves selecting the appropriate test, inputting parameters, and using the wizard for outputs. Stata offers command line options for sample size and power calculations, including 1 sample proportions and 2 sample means. It provides flexibility for various statistical tests. Documenting assumptions and conducting sensitivity analyses are essential for understanding how sample size changes with different parameters. Justifying chosen parameters is crucial, especially with limited resources. Qualitative sample size guidance focuses on saturation rather than formal calculations. It includes recommendations for interviews, focus groups, and ethnography, using purposive sampling to capture diversity. In Southern Africa, contextual considerations like geographic dispersion, language needs, and digital access affect sample size decisions. Ethical and safety constraints also play a role. Practical recommendations include piloting instruments, consulting stakeholders, preparing contingency plans, and triangulating findings to ensure robust research outcomes. Thank you for watching and engaging with our content. We encourage you to subscribe, share, and continue your learning journey with us. Your feedback and questions are always welcome.